G'day, I'm Craig Park. I started with Jim's Mowing in 1995, April 10th, 1995, and I had Jim's Mowing Avondale Heights. Soon after, 6 weeks later after starting, I did a split, sold half the round and made me money back. In 1997, things were a lot different back then. We started Jim's Trees. We did a trial in Brunswick and that went pretty well. So we started Jim's Trees and it was a different time. We had FMS, not FMS 1, 2, 3, 4, it was just called FMS. And it was a DOS-based program. We had, I think it was about 30 call centres around Australia and New Zealand and BC, and they're all local. It was just a completely different time, but we were growing. It was exciting. Maybe we didn't know what we were doing. We probably didn't know what we were doing. Anyway, we all grew. In about 1999, my brother was with Mr. Antenna and he was going pretty well. And I suggested, why don't you come over to Jim's and we'll start Jim's Antennas. Now, he thought I was joking, he didn't think it'd work. So Jim, along with me, we found someone and we got them, it was actually my uncle, we got it started. And it started going okay. Andrew, to his credit, came over and he really got the division really going well. And that became the foundation of the Jim's divisional franchise system, which he led. It turns out at that time, Andrew's next door neighbour was Haydar. And he was running his cleaning business out of a van. He was doing really well, nice guy. I asked him, would he like to come and join Jim's Cleaning, which he jumped at the opportunity, to be honest. He must have seen some potential and he turned out to be fantastic. He's got 1,150 guys now and I couldn't have been prouder of him. He's a great, humble guy. Yeah, so I had a business that I started a couple of years ago after leaving Jim's, and we sold that a year ago. And so I haven't done much the last little while, and I thought I like home services. So I thought, what will I do? And you know what appeals? Window cleaning, pressure washing, that appeals to me. So I rang Haydar and he was good enough to invite me back in and put me through the training this week. Oh God, the training back then was half a day on the road with the guy that you're buying off. And that was that, there was nothing else. There was no introduction to Jim's, to the call centre. It was all very local. Barely any meetings, there was virtually nothing. You had to sink or swim. The training these days is fantastic. It really, from what I've seen now, it really prepares the franchisees for the path ahead, takes out a lot of the bumps that they might be going to face or levels them down a little bit at least, and really prepares them, gives them a lot more information and lets them know there's resources to support them, and yeah, it's fantastic. A great way to start your business. Yeah, for sure. It was a good time. We had some good people. We had Damien Hone join us and he started Jim's Paving. We had some other good people come in and start good divisions. There was no shortage of good ideas for divisions. It was a shortage of great people to run them. And where we had really good people, great people, the divisions went well. I mean, but none of these divisions that we've got now, none of the founders, I don't believe any of the founders of the division are still running the division. So since 1995, I signed up. When I signed up, we were at 7B Robin Lee in Burwood. And I signed up my daughter, Courtney. She was in a baby capsule on the desk as I signed up. She was about 6 weeks old. So what I'm saying, and all my friends from footy, cricket, all my friends have only ever known me with Jim's. So I guess since I was 27 years old, with the exception of the past couple of years, I've always been Jim's and everyone knows me as Jim's. I think it's a fantastic model, a fantastic brand, an easy way to start a business. And I'm really proud of Jim and what he's done. You've got to take your hat off to him. He has been awesome. He's had his challenges and his knockers, his detractors, but he's done well. So I just want to continue to be part of that for the next 10 years till I turn 65, and that might do. Oh God, I've got 1,000 funny stories. Jim and I travelled to Los Angeles, St. Louis, Kentucky, back to LA, Vancouver. That was about 2 days after he'd met Lee. And yeah, the last person he wanted to be with travelling the world was me, and the only person he wanted to be with was Lee. When he got back from overseas, he had another couple of dates and quickly proposed, and they were married soon after. Funny story, I don't know if it was that trip or another one, but you know when you go through immigration and you write down your declaration, Jim wrote down under occupation director, company director. The guy in America looked at him, looked at his shirt, looked down, crossed it out and ticked gardener. Yeah, Jim's is really good value as a contractor or as a worker on the road. to get just enough business just in time, to be able to turn it on and off, change your areas in and out, your services. That model of when you ask for work or you refuse work in advance, I guess, is more to the point. That model of accepting work just enough, just in time, exactly when and where you need it for the service you need, that's a very well refined system, and that is so valuable. To do that in the private sector, in your own business, you just can't manage it. You get peaks and troughs, which is detrimental to your business. This Jim's model is so good in that regard. The starting of new divisions, I was working in the national office. We were in Bayswater, in that old place upstairs, and the girls were taking calls. We didn't call them unserviced. We didn't know about unserviced back then. And I asked Jim if we could write down, if the girls, the call centre operators could write down on a piece of paper the services that they were turning away, knocking back. And they become the first unserviced. It was by service. And then when we found the most of those services, that's when we started looking to start that as a new division. So there were sure a couple of services that people thought Jim's did. It became evident back then people thought Jim's did everything. So maybe that perception became the reality. My best advice is, obviously you have to work hard. Work hard, be kind, but follow the model. And you're going to have some ups and downs, and there's going to be some parts of the model that don't suit you. My best advice would be follow the model, follow the advice, listen to your franchisor, listen to Jim's, your divisional, network with other franchisees. But if you do that, find some like-minded franchisees. You will always find somebody that wants to complain, someone that wants to bitch about a Dudley. Steer clear of them. You'll find those people and they'll find you and they'll find each other. Stick with some confident, like-minded, positive people, and you'll get through it. And it's been said twice in the training that it's a marathon, not a sprint. It is a marathon. If I think back to my time, I wish I had have been a bit more like some people and less like others, but sometimes, yeah, you get drawn in. And the money will be there, the lifestyle will be there. You can do well for your family, and you know what, at Jim's, there's always opportunity here. Always lots of opportunity, and yeah, you can find your way and you can do well. The income potential of Jim's is unlimited, only limited by, well, a higher calibre operator, whatever that means. We had a guy back in the day, Remo Dettori, and I think he had 800 regular customers. He's a very hard-working guy. Andrew McIntosh started, he was the first franchisee in 1989. He was a chicken butcher. Funny story, Andrew, when his wife Val went to have their first baby, he dropped Val off at the hospital and said, well, off you go, good luck. He couldn't stand the sight of blood or the smell of the hospital, yet he was a chicken butcher. But when he started, he didn't have enough money to buy a trailer. He borrowed the money off of his father-in-law. Pretty soon after, he had 10 trailers and 20 guys, and he was turning off $1 million a year way back then. He's gone on to bigger and better things. He had Jim's Fencing. After he sold out from Jim's, he now owns Ormond's. I think he's got 3 big gardening supplies businesses, semi-trailers, all sorts of things. The sky is really the limit. I just think you need to, and if you start with mowing, that doesn't mean that you're going to be mowing. I started with mowing, started doing a few trees, started Jim's Trees, and then I ended up wanting to do stump removal. Stump removal was my best thing. So, I don't know, be open-minded, and maybe it'll find you. Yeah, I couldn't be prouder. The Hall of Fame was something that I think was driven partly by Jim and partly by Greg Pizzolo here at the time. The first one was Peter Ferry. He started Western Australia, did a great job, ended up selling it off in 5 regions. Phil Maunder, he moved to South Australia on Grand Final Day 1990, and he grew a great region. And both of those guys were Hall of Famers. Look, I couldn't have been more proud to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. I think it was back in 2014. Proud moment for me. My wife was here. It was just a great time. I'm interested to see the board here today, to see who else has been inducted on there. It's something that you probably don't strive to achieve, but when that's an award that's bestowed upon you, look, you just can't be prouder. I'm not sure how many Jim's people have been through. It would be thousands, tens of thousands, I guess. Many of whom have been friends of mine, lifelong friends. I spoke to Jason Japp just the other day. He was Keilor East, I was Avondale Heights lawn mowing, this is back in '95, and I see that he's just started the Jim Scratch and Dent division. So, lifetime friendships, thousands of memories, heaps of funny stories, old photos. It's just, it's great times. If that's what you want in your life, then yeah, you can achieve it in gyms.